Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to News Dose. The Xbox Bethesda acquisition is officially complete now, as Xbox welcomed Bethesda as a first-party studio today. Without a doubt, this is the biggest acquisition I've seen in the game industry, and this could potentially push for a monumental shift in the game industry. Clearly, Xbox has done a lot of work in recent years to get more first-party IP, but with this particular acquisition, we're going into uncharted territory. There's a lot of questions on what this acquisition means and what their plans are for Bethesda. Well, we did get some information on that today, including Xbox Game Pass, and they did mention exclusivity. So we're going to talk about that later on today. Also, Nintendo seems to be winding down the 3DS. The 3DS has now been around for 10 years. That's almost hard to believe, but it looks like the 3DS will start to be very rare to find, and I'll explain why here in just a bit. First though, let's go over some of the quick news, starting off with an upcoming game that I think deserves a lot more attention than it's currently getting, It Takes Two. So It Takes Two is being developed by Hazelight, which is one of the best studios in the entire industry at making cooperative games, or taking control of two unique characters. You may know them for their work on Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons or A Way Out. Both of those games were absolutely fantastic, especially how A Way Out in specific made a mandatory cooperative game into a brilliant story-driven experience. It's very creative and works surprisingly well, and it looks like their next game, It Takes Two, is taking what they learned from their past games to the next level. They just posted a new trailer of It Takes Two, and there's a lot happening in this game. It once again is all about cooperative gameplay, but the amount of different scenarios they're putting you in to force you to work as a team seems to be all over the place. I was kind of looking around, and the Video Game Chronicles, after playing a demo of It Takes Two, says that this game could be a surprise cooperative masterpiece. That is a bold statement, but I think it's very possible this could surprise a lot of people. The thing is, it's just kind of going under the radar right now, and it releases later this month. Yeah, It Takes Two will be out on March 26, and once again, it will include a Friends Pass. This is a mandatory cooperative experience, but if you buy this game, you can invite an online friend to play with you free of cost. They did this with A Way Out as well, and it seems to be a nice way of making this type of experience work online. So if you are looking for a fun game to play with a friend that has an intriguing story, you might want to check out It Takes Two. Also, it looks like Super Bomberman R Online will be heading to new platforms. This was one of those Google Stadia exclusives, but it looks like that will no longer be the case. Super Bomberman R Online did get an ESRB rating for Windows PC. As we've seen in the past, when a game gets a rating, oftentimes we get an official announcement shortly after, and here this suggests that Bomberman will come to other platforms on PC. Now, whether that's Steam, Epic Games, or a combination remains to be seen, but overall this is good news. Bomberman is a beloved Konami franchise, and this one in particular is an interesting take on Bomberman. It's actually a 64-player battle royale game, and if you're fond of Konami IP, they did release plenty of characters into this game. You can play as Simon Belmont from Castlevania, Snake from Metal Gear Solid, Pyramid Head from Silent Hill, and several more. Konami may not have any official announcement for these big games just yet, but in the meantime, you can play them in Super Bomberman R Online. I know not everybody likes Google Stadia, so seeing this game come to more traditional platforms is nothing short of great news. Next up, let's talk about Nintendo, as they really do have a great lineup of games for the first half of 2021. They recently released Mario Bowser's Fury, then Bravely Default 2, and now later this month you have Monster Hunter Rise. I do expect this to be a huge release, and potentially will push a lot of hardware, especially over in Japan. Japan loves Monster Hunter, so this will be a big release for the Switch later this month on March 26. Apparently that's going to be a popular day to release games, but if you don't want to wait until then, Capcom and Nintendo announced a new limited time demo that goes up on March 11th. Now, they did this a few months ago where you could participate in 4 different quests, and you could collectively play it up to 30 times. After that, you would then be locked out of the demo, but they're going to reset that number back to 30, and it includes a new hunt this time for the Magnum Aloe. So you can once again go back to Monster Hunter Rise and check out some new content ahead of release. This is a nice way of not only introducing new players to Monster Hunter, but it gives existing fans something to have fun with as they wait for the official release. Truthfully though, by this point I think I'll just kind of wait a couple weeks for the official release, but that's up to you. Now they also revealed Monster Hunter Rise's first free update that will go live in April. This will include new monsters such as Camellios, so do expect updates like this where they add in new content over time. It looks like they have a lot of stuff planned to keep you entertained over the coming year. Now speaking of Nintendo, we talked about this not long ago, but Nintendo recently revealed they would no longer support repairs for the original 3DS and 3DS XL after March 31st in Japan. The new 3DS model should still be fine, but the original 3DS is definitely on its way out, and apparently Nintendo overestimated to how quick that would be. They did post a new update saying they can no longer repair the original 3DS models from this point forward. So unfortunately, they didn't even last until March 31st, like they previously said, and this is the first real sign that the 3DS is probably going to become a rare find sooner rather than later. Of course, they ended production last year, but repairs are quickly going out as well. This is due to the lack of parts for the 3DS, but this has been such a great console. I was going to make a video about this last weekend, but I got preoccupied, so hopefully I get it up this coming weekend. I do think that there are a lot of great games for the 3DS though, and it goes back a long way. It can play 17 years of games, with it being backwards compatible with the DS that released in 2004. If you're looking to go back and play some of its box games, or if you don't have a 3DS yet, right now would be the perfect time to get one, as the secondhand market will only increase from this point forward. For the time being though, the new 3DS models and new 2DS models still seems to be okay for repair. For how long, we'll have to wait and see, but I would love to hear your thoughts on the 3DS. What was your favorite 3DS game, and how would you rank it in terms of Nintendo handheld consoles? Let's talk about Xbox though, as they had a lot to talk about today. They did officially reveal that they completed the Bethesda acquisition. Now, if you follow the channel, we've known about this since last Friday, but now we're hearing it from Microsoft themselves, where they can give us a lot more information. There are some big questions surrounding this acquisition, such as exclusivity. Will Bethesda games be exclusive to Xbox and PC from this point forward? And Phil Spencer did kind of mention this with a vague statement. Let's check out what he had to say. Gamers should know that Xbox consoles, PC, and Game Pass will be the best place to experience new Bethesda games, including some new titles in the future that will be exclusive to Xbox and PC players. So there you have it. Some, but not all Bethesda games will be exclusive to Xbox and PC. What does that really mean though? This is a very vague statement. I would have liked something a little bit more direct here, but we do know for an absolute fact that some will be exclusive. As for the some that are not, there is a possibility that he's referring to upcoming games like Tokyo Ghostwire and Deathloop, which is already planned to be PlayStation-timed exclusives. So outside of those games, will the rest be Xbox exclusives? Or could it be that games that's been in development for years with the PlayStation in mind could continue as multi-platform games, then would the rest be Xbox exclusives? There's also Indiana Jones, which is a unique partnership for Bethesda and the film owners. Maybe Xbox has no input on where that game goes. So yeah, it seems like we're going to have to wait for each individual game to be announced and then hear what platforms they'll release for. The one thing that we do know for a fact though is that some will be exclusive to Xbox, which is a little bit more than what we knew yesterday. They do in fact have plans for exclusive games. It's really just a matter of what games will and won't be, and will Bethesda eventually completely transition to all of their games being exclusive for Xbox? I personally think that will probably be the case. I do think that they'll probably make a complete transition once they finish up with all their games that's already in development, but that's only me guessing. We'll just have to kind of wait and see, I guess. We'll probably hear a lot more about this in the coming months as Bethesda reveals their games. They do have Starfield coming soon, possibly in 2021, and we'll surely get an announcement for what platforms it's coming to soon. For sure it's coming to Xbox and PC, but it remains to be seen if it's coming to PlayStation or not. We'll have to wait and see about that. There's also games like The Elder Scrolls 6. That's one that we'll definitely want to know about, but let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. One thing that Xbox did make clear though is that Xbox Game Pass just got a whole lot better. You now have 8 more studios from ZeniMax releasing their games into Xbox Game Pass from this point forward, and they're not waiting at all on this. That's right, Xbox will be adding several Bethesda-related games into Xbox Game Pass this week. Now, we don't know what games they are just yet, but we could take a guess as to what they'll be. If you take a look at their existing library of Xbox Game Pass games, it already has Doom Eternal, Fallout 76, Fallout New Vegas, Skyrim, Dishonored 2, Elder Scrolls Online, and Wolfenstein Youngblood. Games that could potentially enter Game Pass as early as this week will be The Evil Within 1 and 2, which I do expect to happen, Prey, Fallout 4, Rage, Oblivion, Doom 2016, the first Dishonored game, among several others. There's a lot of games that could be coming to Game Pass very soon thanks to this acquisition, and these are extremely high-quality games. I mean, if you think about it, Xbox Game Pass will now get Starfield, The Elder Scrolls 6, Fallout 5, all Doom games from this point forward, and so many more. Day 1. Xbox Game Pass was already the best deal in gaming, and today, it just got even better. That is amazing when you really think about it. As to when they will officially announce these games, I think it will possibly be on the 11th. It is rumored that they will have some kind of an event where they talk about the Bethesda acquisition on the 11th. Now, don't expect any kind of new game announcements per se, but at the very least, we could hear about the upcoming Bethesda games releasing into Game Pass this week. But yeah, this is absolutely huge for Xbox, and I know we still have questions on exclusivity and what games will and won't be, but of course, I will keep you up to date on that as we find out more. And with that said, onto the poll of the day. Since we've been talking so much about Xbox and Bethesda here recently, I wanted to ask you all, what new Xbox studio do you think is the most exciting? And I saw the comments. Some of you all tried to cheat and say all of them, but the winner was Bethesda with 54%. I expected this to be a little closer than what it was, but this once again shows you the power of Bethesda and why it was such a big acquisition. For me personally though, I'm going to go with the initiative. I am a big fan of Rare and their old IP, and to see Perfect Dark come back is extremely exciting for me personally. I also have an eye on Obsidian, which is a master of making RPGs, and for the first time we're going to see them with a big budget, and I do find that to be exciting. Anyways though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.